648 of the Big 550 KTRS. I am Paul Harris. Thanks for following me on Twitter at Paul Harris Show. And you can follow at Kels Jackson as well for Kelly Jackson. And of course, the radio station is at 550 KTRS. Tonight in Boulder, Colorado, the Republicans will have their third presidential debate. And seems like you'll get the 10 bigger ones at the grown-up debate, and then there's the kiddie table debate once again, which I'm going to ask Alex Stone about this in just a minute because he's covering this for us in Boulder. I think we may be down to 3 people at the kids table debate. One of those is John Kasich of Indiana, who has had trouble breaking through the noise created by the top 2, who are Donald Trump and Ben Carson. Yesterday, Kasich had a rally in Ohio and took a couple of shots at his fellow Republicans.
Let me tell you something. I'm about had it with these people. And let me tell you why. We got one candidate that says that we ought to abolish Medicaid and Medicare. You ever heard of anything so crazy as that? Telling our people in this country who are seniors or about to be seniors that we're going to abolish Medicaid and Medicare? We got one person saying we ought to have a 10% flat tax that will drive up the deficit in this country by trillions of dollars that my daughters will spend the rest of their lives having to pay off. You know, and I say to them is, why don't we have no taxes? Just get rid of them all, and then a chicken in every pot on top of it. We got one guy that says we ought to take 10 or 11 million people and pick them up. I don't know where we're going to go in their homes, their apartments. We're going to pick them up and we're going to take them to the border and scream at them to get out of our country. I mean, that's just crazy. That is just crazy.
That's John Kasich of Indiana yesterday taking shots at Republicans. He's a Republican himself. He wants to be the Republican presidential candidate, who also added in a shot at Trump. We got one candidate that claimed that actually said the reason why we signed an agreement with Ford to bring jobs back to Mexico is because he's been yelling for the last week. Okay, now that is something out of a Back to the Future movie. Again, this is John Kasich, not a Democrat, but a Republican who's just fed up with the people in the lead now, the only ones in double digits, who are Trump and Carson. Well, let's go to Boulder, Colorado now and bring in ABC News Radio's Alex Stone for some thoughts on what we can expect out of all of this tonight. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning to you. And as you were talking there about Trump and Carson, this really could be a battle tonight between those two. Trump now behind Carson in the latest national poll and in recent polls in Iowa as well. And as you can imagine, runner-up is not a place that Trump likes to be. Here's what he said last night.
I mean, I am second. It's not like terrible, but I don't like being second. Second is terrible to me.
Until now, Trump and Carson have played relatively nicely together, not really going after each other. That has been changing in the last couple of days as Trump has taken on Carson for his faith, his stance on immigration, what Trump calls Carson's low energy, that all of a sudden Carson is in Trump's crosshairs as Carson has been successful and seen his numbers go up.
I like the way Trump says, it's not terrible, but it's terrible.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Terrible to me. It's not terrible to everybody, but terrible to me, the way he puts it.
You know, Alex, there was a lot of speculation as he started this thing and quickly took the lead, I think mostly based on name recognition, and then his fame and celebrity came in as well. There were questions about how long he would stay in this while he wasn't number one. And I guess now we start to begin to see the test of that, don't we?
We will have to see now and see if his numbers change. After tonight, do they go down more? Do they go back up? We don't know. If you look historically at elections, that at this point, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, it was Michelle Bachmann who was on top and leading in Iowa, and look what happened there. In previous elections, it's been Newt Gingrich, and look what happens there. So oftentimes, the person who is on top early on is not the one that goes all the way through, but it could be in this case. Trump supporters say that he will be able to make it all the way through, but we'll have to see. He may have a performance tonight that brings him back up on top. This will be in his wheelhouse tonight. The focus will be on the economy. He knows business. He knows money versus a debate that might be on foreign policy where he might have a tougher time really getting into substance. We'll have to see if he can turn things back his way, but his numbers are definitely slipping.
Speaking of business people, Carly Fiorina got a little bit of a buzz off of the second debate, and her poll numbers went up. but her support seems to be flagging now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, many said she was the winner of the last debate, and then she kind of disappeared over the last month and a half or so since that last debate in Simi Valley, that you haven't heard a whole lot from her, and her numbers have come back down. So will she be able to go back in tonight and get people to focus on her again? Remember that last debate? She took on Trump, and she got a lot of focus for that. She may do the same thing tonight, but if the fight is not between Fiorina and Trump, as it was last time going into that debate, will she be able to get that focus? We don't know. Also tonight, watch for Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio to go after each other a bit. Those two are really vying right now for the second-tier status in the polls to be able to say, okay, if Trump and Carson fail, then we're ready to step on up and be the front runner, that they want to be the one to take over that front runner status, and they've been vying and going after each other as that position of behind Trump and Carson to say we're ready to take the lead.
How bad off is Jeb Bush? We heard reports last week that he was laying people off and he was having financial problems.
Yeah, we've heard those reports as well, that there are money problems within the campaign, that they're having to cut back travel a bit. It doesn't look like that things are as rosy as the campaign would like, but the campaign says that it's by no means over at this point. He needs a big night. He needs to gain support out of tonight. That after the past two debates, a lot of people have said that in the first debate he looked a bit nervous, in the second debate that he was too quiet. Will he be able to come in and give a strong performance tonight? His campaign may rest on how he performs.
Alex, I just played this audio of John Kasich yesterday taking shots at Trump and Carson, his GOP opponents. But he's still one of the three or so people left at the baby table, as I call it, the kids' table. He won't be on the main debate stage tonight. Who else is at that kids' table with him?
Well, the undercard debate will be Santorum, Bobby Jindal, George Pataki, Lindsey Graham, and then you've got the main table with everybody else. That things have changed as the polling has changed. And by the way, Trump will still be in that podium as the leader because it is an average of polls over the last couple of weeks that they take, even though he is behind a bit right now. But the interesting thing about Kasich is that in the last day or so, his strategy has changed, that he is now going after his candidates, not naming them by name, but making it very clear who he's talking about by describing them and calling out their plans and saying that they're complete bull and that you can't trust these plans. He had been playing the nice guy. That doesn't seem to be working. Now he's saying, okay, bring it on, and he is calling out the others, saying that this won't work. I'm not going to take part in this circus. I'm going to tell you what will actually work.
Alex Stone covering the debate tonight on CNBC for us from Boulder, Colorado this morning. Thanks, Alex.
You got it. Have a great day.
6:56 at the Big